Hey, what's up, gang? Kawaii50 here with another video, and this is more of a general video game video than anything else. I've got two things here in front of me that I am ready to talk to you all about. And yes, you can ignore the ads, whatever. But this is dreaded. This is the tier lists. And I'm here today to talk about tier lists, mainly because it's a question I end up having to answer somehow inadvertently every single time I stream. So we might as well just go ahead and talk about it now. I'm going to go ahead and talk about tier lists. We're going to easily equate this into Gacha games since, you know, that's a lot of the stuff I play, but we can also, of course, apply this to things like Final Fantasy XIV, things like fighting games, all of that. These are just some things you really should keep in mind when it comes to tier lists. So if you find this video interesting, be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll go ahead and do more, I guess. All right. So let's get the quick and dirty easy thing out of the way. Of course, I'm sure we have all seen the tier list decried. A lot of people don't really enjoy the tier list. They kind of feel like it can overall hurt your enjoyment of the game. But let me tell you first and foremost that tier lists are actually a very, very useful tool. Whether you're an actual hardcore, I need to deal with the metagame and have the best everything kind of player and play the best everything kind of player in any game, or even if you're just a casual and you're looking for some sort of way to make your team flow a little better and create something that you feel like is the most fun to play. This can absolutely apply to everyone. Now, you shouldn't necessarily take all aspects of a tier list as the absolute Bible, because there are, of course, some caveats you have to consider. Now, let's go ahead and let's start with this Genshin tier list just as a good thing to consider. So let's look at these characters we have available up in the double S tier. We have Ayaka, we have Bennett, we have Ganyu, Hu Tao, Kazuha, Raiden, Jinku, and Zhongli. And this is from Genshin.gg. Now, when looking at this tier list, the first thing I will tell you is that any of these characters that you do not have, treat them as though they do not exist. This will not only help your desire sensor immensely, but it will also, of course, give you an opportunity to more closely look at what you actually have to work with. Of course, tier lists in general, when you've got games where you have absolutely everything available to you, that's when you can truly consider all of those options available. But when we are looking strictly at Gacha, let me advise you, don't use this as a avenue to, lament over your team structure or anything like that. Use it as a tool to improve. So if you don't have Ayaka, if you don't have Bennett, if you don't have Ganyu, or etc., those characters do not exist. Look at this as a way to build a good team. Kind of like what I did myself. So to provide an example with Genshin, I have Jinku and I have Raiden. And Jinku and Raiden are very, very good characters on my team. So I built my first team with them as sort of a base. And then looking into bringing in different elemental reactions, I of course brought in Sucrose to help out. And I have characters like Kokomi and Diona to heal. So even just using this, I didn't consider, okay, I need to worry about Bennett, I need to worry about Ayaka, I need to worry about Ganyu. No, not a big deal. I just worried about what I had available and was able to easily use this tool to construct a team that functions well for me. But of course, this isn't to say that you can't use tier lists as a tool to help you out moving forward. Like, for example, let's look here at Fate Grand Order. We've got characters Skahawk, Scotty, Merlin, and Zhuge Liang sitting in the EX tier. We have Zhuge Liang coming out as an easy pick free option for the game coming forward on NA. You can just go ahead and get him with a special item they're going to give you. So if you don't have him and you are having a hole in your team, it stands to reason that you are going to want to go ahead and grab that. This is something a person can easily glean with absolutely no knowledge of the game whatsoever, just by looking at that list. It is a very easy conclusion to come to, and that ends up helping to justify the existence of this tool. I would also like to caution you with something I tell a lot of people when they are talking about looking at tier lists. What do I prioritize more? Do I prioritize a main DPS? Do I prioritize a utility, a sub DPS? What should I be looking for when I am looking at these lists? And of course, the bog standard answer is look for what you don't have. But Barring that, if you are just looking for something you need to grab to go ahead and up your game, up your enjoyment of your game, I highly recommend on pretty much any tier list you look at, you go ahead and look at characters that are utility or look at characters that are support. Specifically because if these characters are highly regarded in their spheres as being a great utility, a great support, what have you, this means that character is going to easily enable those main DPS or sub DPS characters that you would have on your team. If you are a powerful main DPS, that's great, but if you don't have a good supporter helping you, then you are not going to be as good as a main DPS who has even the lowliest supporter helping them. So please, if you are looking for something to prioritize, go ahead and focus on supporters and utility when looking at pretty much any tier list to try to figure out what your next course of action is. And there is one final thing I want to caution you all at. The thing that I see draws the ire to most people when it comes to looking at a tier list is please do not let tools like this negatively impact your enjoyment of the game. Like, let's look down here at the bottom tier. Oof, Demon King Nobunaga Oda sitting there in the D tier. Not considered too great right now on Game Press. However, with the right supporters, say a Merlin, you can go ahead and take this character and pull her up in the ranks to be quite good. The same goes over here with Genshin, of course. Yeah, C0 Aloy as a sub DPS, A tier Pei as a main DPS, B tier Razor as a main DPS, this isn't necessarily looking that great. But if you have a great supporter for your, say, Razor, like a Raiden Shogun to provide that energy recharge utility, like a Bennett to provide that healing and that general attack boost once completely healed, you are going to see even that lower tier character become a lot stronger and a lot ready to go. And you, of course, can still end up building a team based around characters entirely you like. All this tool is telling you, all you are being told by looking at this placement, of course reading into the descriptions of all of these different characters and why they are placed in the areas that they are, just tells you, hey, you can run this character, but it's going to take a little bit more work in order to make that character really strong. It's not saying that you cannot make that particular build, that particular character, that particular playstyle work. Player skill always comes into factor, and player skill is something that is divorced from a tier list completely and utterly. This is assuming the player has the absolute highest levels of play available to them and they have everything available. No, this is just saying that you might need to put in a little bit of extra work in order to make that thing function. And let me just say, as a final, absolute final note, remember that these tier lists are not static. As games continue to update and evolve, updates continue to get pushed out. And what may be true for a game in one day might not necessarily be so true the next day. Like it says here with Demon King Nobunaga. After her upgrade, she deals bonus damage against new enemies, which can stack with her anti-divine damage, giving her better usage cases. Additionally, when this new character comes out to support her, her performance ceiling becomes remarkably higher. So yes, characters will get better or worse or etc. Classes, playstyles, different teams, they will get better or worse as things change and as things go on. All you really need to remember is use this as a tool in whatever way you need to further your enjoyment of the game. And I hope with a lot of the things that I have told you in this video, you will be able to more comfortably do that. Because I myself used to be very against the idea of the tier list. But now I go and I look online and I read these things for fun because I know there is very good information that can be offered in pretty much any tier list, and aggregating that data together, whether I am a super ultra mega hardcore player in the game or whether I'm just a casual looking for new characters and new teams to have fun with. But of course, I want to know what you all think, so let me know your thoughts about tier lists, your experiences with tier lists down in the comments section below. I feel like we can get a good dialogue going as a community and really see ways we can use this tool. That's all it is, a tool to further our enjoyment of our games, whether they be FGO, whether they be Genshin, whether they be Final Fantasy XIV, whether they be Guilty Gear Strive, whatever the game is. Anyways, gang, this is Kawaii50. I hope you all have a phenomenal day, and I hope this video was able to help you out. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.